My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda. And well, today it's a two-man army. I am here with Jerome Paul Sonko, and we're going to be going with you all the way till the hour of 9 a.m. So please do stick around. We're going to be discussing matters of national importance, current affairs, and everything that you need to know as you are preparing, one, to leave home, but also preparing to have your day move forward, and also preparing to have a better month coming ahead. This is what you have to do. Stick with us because we have all the information that you need. Now, today is the 5th of December, and it's approximately 20 days to Christmas. And Sonko, what is that one thing you look forward to when it comes to Christmas season?
One of the things that I do look out for is basically looking at family meetups, or when you look at in the Ugandan, I would say, in the kind of situation we are used to, Christmas is a time when we get to hang out with family,
right,
or go and visit relatives. Back in the time, you would celebrate Christmas in the villages, but for us who come from the central region, our villages are just a 30-minute drive away.
You are the guys. You stay.
You
stay in Ntinda, and your village is in Chira.
Exactly. So you're staying in Chireka, your village is in Namugongo, and it's just a border ride away.
Right.
But I think it's the same thing. You get time to go and have time with the relatives.
Right.
So it is something I look forward to. But this particular one is rather a different kind of. It's kind of a different situation for me, if I should say. It needs when you do have a lot of financial capabilities as an individual or as a Ugandan, so that at least when you're done with the enjoyments in December, your January will as well continue being great.
I see something on the internet. This gentleman was saying Christmas needs to hold on a little bit. I only have $8. $8.
$8 can't even help you survive.
The season is for spending. And also someone also said it has 5 weekends. And 5 weekends,
and
are we really
weekend
going to serve
Thursday.
anything?
And these days weekends start on Thursdays because many people are already on work leaves till January.
I've had some offices have already broken off for
Exactly.
Christmas.
You can ideally even notice that with the morning traffic. By around 6, there is not so many people on the road.
Yes.
Yeah. It only starts catching up late in the evening. That is when most of the people are either going downtown or some people are actually heading to the entertainment places.
Right. Please do say hi to the viewers.
Good morning, Ugandans, and good morning to all of you wherever you're catching us from. We are here to make sure that you are inspired, and we're here to make sure that we give you information, news, and of course discussions that you'll definitely have a say as well as a viewer. But besides that, this week Chambogo University is holding graduation
ceremony, yes.
And 10,000 of over 10,000 students
I expected to graduate.
Besides that, there is also other issues in relation to two IT staff members who are fired in relation to alteration of students' marks.
Yes.
And this happens a lot in Ugandan
different universities. Yes, that is very true. It's been an issue that has been reported over the years in both public and private universities.
True.
But I think the most pronounced has been the public universities. We've seen the same cases for Macquarie University.
Because they do have lots of students there, so
yes,
it does happen quite often. For the private universities, you highly expect it to come because it's money-oriented, but public
and
universities...
result-oriented as well.
Exactly, so you would expect the money. But we have over 10,000 Ugandan students who will definitely be hitting the graduation. Now, the bigger question goes, where are the jobs for all these 10,000? And also, not to forget, we also have Macquarie University having graduation in January.
Yes, in January.
So when you look at the extension of everything, you do realize we have over 50 institutions of higher learning in the country. And every year, we have over 10,000 from each university graduating. Yes,
and like you said, the question is, where are the jobs going to come from? But shouldn't it be a time we look at having the biggest percentage of those graduates being job creators, not job seekers? Though, of course, the other challenge would be if you visit, you usually do Good Morning Uganda business updates. When you look at the business atmosphere in the country, you realize that it's not as motivating for young entrepreneurs.
To tap into, by the way, it's not as much. And even the working environment for beginners at times becomes really harsh for those without experience.
Right.
And then you realize that most of them are also scared of even getting into there. You know, being a job seeker in Uganda is also a different kind of battle.
It is a battle, but let's face it. It is seemingly a bit safer than investing your little money which you don't have. You're probably selling a piece of land or selling your cows or selling your goat. Yes, to start a business. So in this case, you're going to realize that these people feel safer getting a job where they're earning, say, 800,000 or 1 million shillings or whichever they are earning. It's a lot safer than investing money and having the sleepless nights. And then you wake up one morning, the business is not working, you're in debt, and you have nothing to eat or anywhere to go. And that is the mentality of very many youth out there right now.
But well, as of now, you can as well join the hunt of the two fugitive.
The bounty that was put. Yeah,
40 million by the police in hunt of the ADF rebels that were identified. 40 million Ugandan shillings for anyone who can identify where they are, and you'll definitely walk away with that. And the hunt does continue. I love the fact that this particular one is more like we have 40 million at stake, but also encouraging Ugandans to follow suit in relation to hunting and investigation. So it will be more like the public and the police here joining in the investigation.
Well, you know the police motto, help us to help you.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, you know, when you're to conclude it all, you realize that it's for the safety of all Ugandans. So why not involving all the Ugandans?
So it's a 20 million for one of each, I should say. If you get one, 20 million. 40. If you get the other 20. And also, if you've been conniving with them and you think you'll get the 20 million, it is not good news for you. But of course, this is something that the government intends to at least put an end to the kind of terror attacks that we are having, and also reminding Ugandans to be very vigilant of their neighbors.
Especially this season. You know, the festive season, the holiday seasons are usually mad with a lot of crime, and because there is a lot of gatherings that take place, families together and stuff like that, you realize that those are the target groups and target areas that you will find yourself. So it's better for Ugandans. We need to be really safe.
And also mentioning the fact that we're in the festive season, accidents, the level of accidents that actually, the cases of accidents, we really need to be very cautious as well. Whether you're a passenger, rather a pedestrian, or you're a driver. This time, I think last year we were recording quite a number of cases of accidents, especially along highways for those who are actually heading up country to celebrate. So as we are heading to, to celebrate, we should not end lives of others, or we should be mindful of our lives, because the year is coming to an end and we would all wish to enter the new year. We all have new year aspirations.
Right. Well, that being said, let's cross over and see what is happening locally in the news stories.
And of course, in relation to the news stories from the local scene, we'll definitely be starting in from this particular story that I did mention of police putting up 40 million Ugandan shillings for the ADF the ADF fugitive who are away. Police offered a 20 million shilling reward for any person possessing crucial information about two suspected ADF terrorists, one Kamusi Musa and Habib Suleiman. They are suspected to mastermind planting improvised explosive devices intending to cause harm and instill fear among the public through various attacks across the country. In efforts to safeguard the festive season, the police have strategically deployed personnel to ensure smooth celebrations without disruptions. And then elsewhere we talk matters Kyambogo University. Kyambogo University has dismissed 2 of its IT staff over marks alteration for marks. While briefing the media on the forthcoming graduation, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Eli Katunguka, has confirmed that the 4 students will not graduate for trying to bribe university IT experts for marks alteration. And of course, also, lest we forget, Chamgo University will be having their graduation this very week. Now, 5 people have been confirmed dead and 3 others injured following a collapsed petrol station fence in Ndeje, Kanyanya Makindye division in Kampala. This particular collapsed fence allows the early morning heavy rains in different parts of the Kampala metropolitan area. Now, the incidents occurred at Ndeje Kanyanya village in Makindye Sabagabo division, as 5 people lost their lives when the fence for Good Luck oil station collapsed. Now, according to neighbors, the incident occurred at around 4 a.m. Although they tried to rescue some of the injured people, all was in vain since 5 were already found dead. Now, some of the survivors described the incident. However, residents blame the builders who blocked the sewers. Now, lastly, from our local scene, the Ugandan nursing and midwifery examinations for December semester have commenced today in did commence yesterday in 121 centers across the country. Now, center coordinators say that the exercise started on a good note, although there was a challenge of early morning rains that delayed some students from reaching on time. Now, over 50,000 students of nursing and midwifery started their end of semester examinations in various centers across the country. Now, UBC TV did traverse some of these centers as the exercise was moving on smoothly, as you can see on your screen. And well, that is all we've gathered for you from the local scene this morning.
Thank you so much, Jerome Paul. Now, let's cross over and check what is happening internationally, trying to find out what other parts of the country are up to. Now, the British government has announced a package of measures to cut net migration to the United Kingdom, including plans to raise the minimum salary required for foreign workers to be eligible for a work visa. The measure aims at raising the minimum salary migrants to the UK must earn in a job by a third after record net migration in 2022 piled pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to act. High levels of legal migration have for more than a decade dominated Britain's political landscape, and Sunak has promised to gain more control after lawmakers in his Conservative Party criticized his record ahead of an election expected next year. Successive Conservative-led governments have promised to cut migration once targeting a net figure of less than 100,000. Interior Minister James Cleverly said on Monday that government would raise the minimum salary threshold for foreign skilled workers to £38,700, that is $48,800, from its current level £26,200, reform the list of jobs where expectations are made due to shortages, and toughen rules on whether workers can bring their families. And away from that, Israel has ordered Palestinians to evacuate several more areas as it widens its bombardment of the Gaza Strip, killing hundreds. The Israeli military declared on Monday via the social media site X that it was defining safe areas for Gaza civilians to minimize harm to them. However, hundreds more Palestinians have been killed since the onslaught resumed on Friday, and it is unclear where civilians might seek safety. Al Jazeera journalists on the ground say it is difficult to heed the orders in real time, with nowhere safe remaining in the enclave. Israel published a map on Friday dividing Gaza into evacuation zones and asking people to follow their announcements for their safety. However, the maps, which include nearly 2,500 grids, have confused many, while unreliable internet and electricity make keeping updated a challenge. Yesterday, an update with 3 arrows pointing south was issued. The instruction came the day after the Israeli military said it had expanded its ground operation to all of Gaza, targeting Hamas centers in all of the enclave. Now, coming back to Africa, 4 women living with HIV in Kenya have each been awarded $20,000 in damages for being sterilized being sterilized without their informed consent. They have spoken to the BBC about their experiences. The women fought a 9-year legal battle, and their names have been changed to protect their identities, which were not revealed during the case at the High Court. "It has ruined my life," Penda told the BBC about the surgery she underwent shortly after having twins at the state-owned Pumwani Maternity Hospital in the capital, Nairobi. The procedure is called a bilateral tubal ligation, when a woman's fallopian tubes are cut, tied, band, clipped, or partly removed, closing them and preventing future pregnancies. The father of her twins left before they were born. Her husband had died a few years earlier of HIV-related complications. She is distressed that she will never find another partner who will marry me if I know I can't give birth. Penda knew she was HIV positive when she became pregnant, so she sought medical advice. At the time, pregnant women with HIV were encouraged to give birth by cesarean section and not breastfeed their babies to prevent mother-to-child transmission of the virus. These are expensive routes to go down for many from poorer backgrounds. Nowadays, most maternity care in Kenya is free, but it has not always been the case. Now, crossing over to matters climate. Wolfgang Kramer's first involvement with the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change was in the 90s. He worked on the second assessment report delivered in 1995, which affirmed the science of anthropogenic climate breakdown. At the point, no one could say they did not know what was happening. Almost 3 decades on, Kramer was part of the international scientific team that prepared the 6th IPCC report. Its inclusion, delivered in March, issued human civilization a bleak final warning. The biosphere stands on the brink of irrevocable damage. Now, as diplomats meet in Dubai for the 28th round of the COP climate talks, in a year predicted to be the hottest on record, and as carbon emissions continue to rise, Kramer is one of the 33 IPCC authors among the 1,447 scientists and academics in signing an open letter calling on the public to take collective action to avert climate breakdown. Well, and that is it for our stories, especially internationally, and also when you talk about climate.
You know, there is an interesting one, and the one you've actually read from Kenya, HIV and forced sterilization.
Right.
You know, women in Kenya being forced or being sterilized so as to stop giving birth,
right,
as a way to stop the spread of HIV. And I think it's more like creating room for stigma at the end of it all, because there are also other safe ways of a parent who was given birth and living with HIV having the opportunity to raise healthy babies without getting the virus. And when you look at such situations, it's a very cruel move. Very cruel.
Because we have ways with which someone can give birth to very healthy babies that are HIV negative. And in my own opinion, there could be something deeper than that.
True. And well, though they walked away with $20,000 US, I think there is nothing as important as life. Because imagine in the situation of being sterilized and then you miss, or let's say a doctor misses anything and then you end up losing your life. Because at the end of it all, these people even have these people actually agreed? Because in most cases, these hospitals, when you look at the report again, you do realize that most of the patients were taken to C-section. So they were actually having their production, or they were actually producing through C-section, which meant it was something that they were actually doing in the wrong way. So we always need to look at the fact that patients have to be aware of such moves by all those in the medical fraternity. And I think it is ideally something that every person in the medical fraternity should be worried about.
Exactly, especially because we don't even know what happens in those theater rooms.
Exactly.
You can never know what happens in there. That's why sometimes they would want a relative or someone you really trust to be there with you. But that said, let's take a look at what is happening in the dailies locally and across the East African region.
And locally, the New Vision from Uganda, CID launches probe into how statements vanished. That is in relation to the Uganda Wildlife Authority gorilla permit fraud as files stolen from police. Now also 6 dead, several injured in a Jumani attack. Read about that in the New Vision today. Groom and bestman perish in car crash after giveaway. You can read about that report still with the New Vision. Now, Katanga murder case continues, pictorial of proceedings in court. Then also, Rango's President Museveni needs to meet Mubaje over Muslim property as Christmas getaway. Read about that as well. As in the also from the refugees' perspective, government gets tough on NGOs over donor aid. Now, lastly, from the local scene, the Daily Monitor, winners in the new 3.5 trillion shillings budget. Read about more of the budgets and how much different sectors will be getting. Well illustrated with the Daily Monitor today. Now, also, a bridegroom dies in crash just days to wedding. And then you can also read about emotions that run high as Katanga's case returns. Then special report, how dreadlocks have locked group out of jobs. Then FDC splinter group to hold grassroots elections. That is what our local dailies have this Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Jerome Paul. Now let's check what is happening across East Africa, that is in Kenya and Tanzania. For now, we start with the Daily Nation, that is in Kenya. If you want to know what is happening with our neighbors, the main headline, why Raila blocked plan to sell state farms. Now, companies earmarked for privatization have combined assets worth a staggering 200 billion Kenya shillings. Then away from that, Pastor Michael Njoroge, a tale of sex, fake miracles, a spectacular downfall and death. Also from Dubai to India, Ruto takes 43rd trip. President in New Delhi for 2-day visit. Away from that, MPs fight draft law seeking to clip powers over pay packs. Also, HIV strides new method of curbing spread of virus approved for use. And that and so much more in today's copy of the Daily Nation when it comes to our neighbors right here. And also in Tanzania, nation in the morning as Hanang toll increases. And you are looking at President Samia Suluhu Hassan cutting short her trip to the United Arab Emirates following the Hanang floods disaster whose death toll rose sharply yesterday. But away from that, national transition, also you're going to find it in here. National agreement, why Tanzania-India deal on startups matters in today's copy of The Citizen. And also matters COP28, disaster, a stark reminder of the impact of climate change. That and so much more in today's copy of The Citizen, and that is what we had for you in the dailies this morning. Thank you for staying with us. Now, of course, as we do it every single morning to inspire your day, and also being a festive season, guess what? We're going to leave you with a song that is by Bebe Cool, and the song is Merry Christmas to Everyone. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. You're watching UBC Television. This is Good Morning Uganda, and very welcome aboard. We are glad that you get to wake up with us every single morning. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda. And well, today it's a two-man army. I am here with Jerome Paul Sonko, and we're going to be going with you all the way till the hour of 9 a.m. So please do stick around. We're going to be discussing matters of national importance, current affairs, and everything that you need to know as you are preparing, one, to leave home, but also preparing to have your day move forward, and also preparing to have a better month coming ahead. This is what you have to do. Stick with us because we have all the information that you need. Now, today is the 5th of December, and it's approximately 20 days to Christmas. And Sonko, what is that one thing you look forward to when it comes to Christmas season?
One of the things that I do look out for is basically looking at family meetups, or when you look at in the Ugandan, I would say, in the kind of situation we are used to, Christmas is a time when we get to hang out with family,
right,
or go and visit relatives. Back in the time, you would celebrate Christmas in the villages, but for us who come from the central region, our villages are just a 30-minute drive away.
You are the guys. You stay.
You
stay in Tinda, and your village is in Chira.
Exactly. So you're staying in Chireka, your village is in Namugongo, and it's just a border ride away.
Right.
But I think it's the same thing. You get time to go and have time with the relatives.
Right.
So it is something I look forward to. But this particular one is rather a different kind of it's kind of a different situation for me, if I should say. It needs when you do have a lot of financial capabilities as an individual or as a Ugandan, so that at least when you're done with the enjoyments in December, your January will as well continue being great.
I see something on the internet. This gentleman was saying Christmas needs to hold on a little bit. I only have $8. $8.
$8 can even help you survive.
The season is for spending. And also someone also said it has 5 weekends, and 5 weekends,
and every
are we
weekend
really going to
starts from
serve
Thursday.
anything?
And these days weekends start on Thursdays because many people are already on work leaves till January.
I've had some offices have already broken off for Christmas.
Exactly. You can ideally even notice that with the morning traffic. By around 6, there is not so many people on the road.
Yes.
Yeah. It only starts catching up late in the evening. That is when most of the people are either going downtown or some people are actually heading to the entertainment places.
Right. Please do say hi to the viewers.
Good morning, Ugandans, and good morning to all of you wherever you're catching us from. We are here to make sure that you are inspired, and we're here to make sure that we give you information, news, and of course discussions that you'll definitely have a say as well as a viewer. But besides that, this week Chambogo University is holding graduation
ceremony, yes.
And 10,000 of over 10,000 students
I expected to graduate.
Besides that, there is also other issues in relation to two IT staff members who are fired in relation to alteration of students' marks.
Yes.
And this happens a lot in Ugandan
different universities. Yes, that is very true. It's been an issue that has been reported over the years in both public and private universities.
True.
But I think the most pronounced has been the public universities. We've seen the same cases for Macquarie University.
Because they do have lots of students there, so
yes,
it does happen quite often. For the private universities, you highly expect it to come because it's money-oriented, but public
and
universities...
result-oriented as well.
Exactly, so you would expect the money. But we have over 10,000 Ugandan students who will definitely be hitting the graduation. Now, the bigger question goes, where are the jobs for all these 10,000? And also, not to forget, we also have Macquarie University having graduation in January.
Yes, in January.
So when you look at the extension of everything, you do realize we have over 50 institutions of higher learning in the country. And every year, we have over 10,000 from each university graduating. Yes,
and like you said, the question is, where are the jobs going to come from? But shouldn't it be a time we look at having the biggest percentage of those graduates being job creators, not job seekers? Though, of course, the other challenge would be if you visit, you usually do Good Morning Uganda business updates. When you look at the business atmosphere in the country, you realize that it's not as motivating for young entrepreneurs.
To tap into, by the way, it's not as much. And even the working environment for beginners at times becomes really harsh for those without experience.
Right.
And then you realize that most of them are also scared of even getting into there. You know, being a job seeker in Uganda is also a different kind of you know, battle.
It is a battle, but let's face it. It is seemingly a bit safer than investing your little money which you don't have. You're probably selling a piece of land or selling your cows or selling your goat. Yes, to start a business. So in this case, you're going to realize that Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. You're watching UBC Television. This is Good Morning Uganda, and very welcome aboard. We are glad that you get to wake up with us every single morning. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda, and well, today it's a two-man army. I am here with Jerome Paul Sonko, and we're going to be going with you all the way till the hour of 9 a.m. So please do stick around. We're going to be discussing matters of national importance, current affairs, and everything that you need to know as you are preparing, one, to leave home, but also preparing to have your day move forward, and also preparing to have a better month coming ahead. This is what you have to do. Stick with us because we have all the information that you need. Now, today is the 5th of December, and it's approximately 20 days to Christmas. And Sonko, what is that one thing you look forward to when it comes to Christmas season?
Junko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
You are right on time for the Good Morning Uganda newsreel. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda. With me on set is Jerome Paul Sonko. Like I say, today it's a two-man army. Though I'm a woman, but let's go with that. Thank you for joining us once again, and we are glad that you get to be part of the conversation. Now, this time we get to discuss matters where we call upon you to be part of the conversation, and you can share your views on the X app. The poll question is already there, but also you can engage us on our WhatsApp number, and the number is 0709-602-592. You get to have the conversation with us, and today we are talking about we are calling upon you to share your opinion on the role of ethics and morality in driving the social and economic development of Uganda. I repeat, do share your opinion on the role of ethics and morality in driving the social and economic development of Uganda. Now, this conversation it literally comes from the fact that tomorrow the Parliamentary Forum on ethics and integrity will hold a conference at the Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, and this will be to discuss ethics and integrity as key socio-economic development, as a key socio-economic development issue in Uganda. And well, that is where I would like to center our conversation. But to just break it down a little bit, look at our ethics and morality in the country vis-a-vis our growth and development. Still, what contribution does it make? How do we make it better? But also, is it even true that moral decadence, like it was put, is one of the reasons as to why the economy is stagnating a little bit? The conversation is for you and I to have, and of course we look forward to hearing from you. But for now, let's have this discussion with Jerome Paul. And the first question I would have for Jerome Paul is it even true that moral decadence or lack of ethics and integrity in the country is the cause, or is one of the big causes of stagnation, or of us not growing economically and socially?
Let me quote one of the words he used, that is Honorable Nsamba
Butoro.
And he did mention that when a country lacks ethics and integrity, then he did put it in a way that you can't expect much development from the same. And when we talk about how this has actually affected us, I want to believe that it has, from the social perspective first, as a country. You look at the fact that we care less about one another, and that social growth, or that social connection in our society today has started falling apart.
Right.
And in relation to growth or social development of a country, that is how you realize that we have a long way to go as well. And speaking of social integrity, it goes way beyond just even the simple ethics. It goes back to the to how do we handle ourselves spiritually as a country, religious matters. When you look at the growth of our religions in Uganda, you do realize right from childhood this has been a set pesa of social integration, whereby we do know some people are actually connected due to religions, others are connected due to cultural matters. But as of today, that connection is actually, fading away.
Right.
It is actually sad that when you look at people who go to church, for example, if I'm to use an example of church, people who go to church today, you will go to church, and the best you can do is say hello to your neighbor, and then after service is done, or after mass is done, everyone goes their own way. And it's the same thing when it comes to our neighbors, or what you could say in the residential areas, because most of the people in residential areas are either renting or owning houses. Now, most of the people do not even know or have any clue about who their neighbors are,
yes,
and the like. It's because it is now more, it's now more like my life, my rules, or I'm on my own, And we always say, minding my own business. And we always say that in this life, you are on your own. So we have actually pushed this particular agenda into our minds, and it has actually ruined our social connection as a country. And then going back to the question that you asked, is this affecting the social and economic development of the country, the moral decay and lack of ethics? I think yes, because when you look at what builds a society, there has to be ethics. And that means there's supposed to be integrity and ethics as a key driver to everything we do, because that is the driver that is actually the same driver that will push someone to handle themselves well while among people, or also it is the same reason as to why we have some leaders who are in parliament but lack, the morals of a good leader, or lack, the composure that you would love to see from a leader that you would look up to. So I think it is contributing greatly to where we are as a country, or where we are failing as a country. So there's a lot of moral decay in the country that we really, really need to build up as a nation going forward?
I was trying to look at some of the factors, that could boost economic development and growth, but also look at the factors that affect. And when I try to look at the list put forward, you're looking at things like foreign direct investment inflows, foreign direct investment volatility, government expenditure, money supply, and trade openness. Those are some of the reasons that are being put forward as the causes of say, the factors that affect economic growth and development. But then again, when you go back down to issues of morality, issues of ethics, how do we connect these to economic growth and development, socio-economic growth in the country? Okay,
now let's also go back to what is leading us to getting into even this kind of situation. You've actually mentioned something to do with the government expenditures and the like. If you happen to sit down with most of the Ugandans and try to, understand what is happening, most of them will actually say, most of them are not happy with the decisions that are made in Parliament.
Right.
That is one of the reasons as to why you get to realize some of the people are actually not happy, and then they are socially disconnecting from the country. It goes back to how Ugandans insult members of Parliament, even on social media platforms. Back in the time, we would ideally say, however much there is freedom of expression and freedom of speech, but we have normalized use of vulgar language in our society today. Now, going back to how it is actually affecting us, this is something that you do realize that if, for example, you're working in an environment where your boss is as toxic as you can put it, or where your boss is someone who is a bit abusive, or from the side of it, a sexual harasser, you hate yourself within. And then that means the results at the end of the day are not going to be the same as at the time you started, because it is definitely going to be reflecting on how you perform. And this goes back to the same level of the leaders we have today. We've actually also normalized the idea that if a member of Parliament goes into office, there is always that statement, let him go and eat, as long as the others were also eating. So which clearly shows you that we've also normalized that corruption is now part of us. Goes back to the moral decay, because if you are a corrupt nation, then you cannot tell me that you're championing ethics and integrity, because as a leader, you are supposed to be working for the people. So that means if you're given money, or if you're given money, you're supposed to be accountable. That means the level of accountability for the money that you've been given should be shown. Instead of swindling government funds, you need to make sure that Ugandans benefit off the services. Now, most of the times that we have today is everyone who has the opportunity to get into office today, all they do is, first of all, quench their thirst. If someone has been suffering for the best of time, they will want to utilize all the public funds to build something for themselves.
If they don't have a house, they don't have to construct a house and stuff.
So
like
this
that
is affecting the local Ugandan, or someone who is actually paying taxes, because we are all taxpayers, and it is on taxpayers' money that these people are actually thriving. So this takes you back. If you have a leader who is so tough, or who is so high on integrity and ethics, you do not expect him to misuse the funds, because he does know that if I misuse, let's say, 20 billion Ugandan shillings, what will happen to the people in Buyikwe who are looking for, better health services? And this is where we are as a country, and we really need to shape up.
Right. I would like to just bring it to the attention of Ugandans. When you talk about morality, basically we're talking about someone being in position to know the difference between right and wrong, or good or bad behavior. That is, if you talk about morality, that is what we are talking about. But if you're talking about ethics, for ethics, you're looking at the moral principle that govern a person's behavior or conduct of an activity. And this is why actually when you look at the definition, when you now dig deeper, you realize that when you start pointing out examples of, say, the corruption cases we have seen, the embezzlement cases we have seen, you realize that there was a problem with ethics in the middle there. There was a problem with integrity in the middle there. There was a problem with morality in the middle there, because if someone knew, or if someone was not deliberate to stand on principle, now these are ethics, to stand on the principle and know that they are not supposed to be embezzling government funds, we would probably be doing better. We would have better services, healthcare services, better roads. Yeah. Then when you talk about morality, someone knowing that, okay, I'm contracting this company, they don't have the capacity to perform. All they do, but I'm telling them, listen, do shoddy work, let's save this amount of money for ourselves. That person, at the end of the day, you're constructing a road, but the road is going to get spoiled in a few years.
And also, you look at the fact that some of the Ugandans are really tired with the fact that at times the law is not as supportive as you would expect, because you want to believe some people, especially those who are so high or who are so principled on integrity and push for ethics as much in the country that we have today, are also highly disappointed with the way those who are actually in wrong go free. So you get to realize that as you're planting a seed of good deeds, you realize that at times, even those who have actually been championing good deeds in the country reach a time and they feel like, well, it seems you cannot survive if you're the better person in society. Even in companies, we've seen it so far, that you get to realize that at times, people who actually pass through the rightful journey of success do realize that they're never going to make it. And this is because of the different channels or avenues that are put in place. You look at people who are seeking for jobs, for example. A job is actually put in place, or people actually come out to advertise for jobs. And ideally, those who have actually qualified to go in for these jobs apply. And then after application, they actually go in for interviews. And we've seen these scenarios. After the interviews, they are never given the jobs. Surprisingly, the company bosses end up giving jobs to those who they know because of the connections and the like. So someone who is not qualified comes in and takes over your place of work simply because they know someone who owns the company. Right. So this is something that makes even those who have actually been believing in the good deeds or in the rightful paths of life end up actually losing the morale to actually push for ethics and integrity. So as we are pushing for the same, you also do realize that it also stems back right from families. Even from families, you realize that back in the time, our parents were so high, or were actually high motivators in relation to how we should handle ourselves in society. That if Sonko, you're leaving home, you have to greet your neighbor.
Because you're a representation of where you come from.
Exactly. So how you handle yourself away from home is simply a representation of what is supposed to be seen at home.
How did your mother raise you?
Exactly.
What kind of father did
how
you
are
have?
you dressed? How do you handle yourself? Which kind of language do you use while addressing people?
Right.
In case of disagreements, which kind of tone do you use while arguing out an issue? So, but during this time that we are in today, you do realize we're even having parents who are raising children in a way that I do not want to say is inappropriate, but you look at the dress code of, let's say, a teenager or a young person, and you definitely know that there is a problem right
Back
from home, whereby a parent does not regulate anything about the child. You look at the content they actually see or share on social media, you do realize that maybe we have also failed. And even society today, society back then would groom a child on behalf of the parent. But as of now, it is very, very difficult to find. You do realize that at times society will only look at the child and they will actually go on to accuse the family, and they will not help in grooming.
Not do anything about it.
So it is more like we are failing at something we would have done collectively. And like I did mention at the start, even how we handle ourselves at church back then, or even mosques, were a center of social growth and social connection, whereby once mass or service is done, you would greet one another, you would share contacts, try to, you know, share words of encouragement. Today, people are rather discriminative, even in places of worship.
Right, and that is where we find a number of challenges. We have grown. We seem to think that we are like islands that stand on our own, and we can families
strive.
have to can thrive. We are calling upon you to be part of the conversation, and we are saying share your opinion on the role of ethics and morality in driving social and economic development of Uganda. Please do be part of the conversation. The WhatsApp number is 0709602592. You can send us a message. I do have some views that have already come through, and well, in a few minutes we are going to be closing this conversation, and this is the part where I would like to look at having figured that at the end of the day, that corrupt official there is a gap in their principles, their integrity, their ethics, their morals. Having understood that that lecturer who is sitting on a student's marks because they want something from them, having figured that that doctor who is going ahead to harass nurses or even patients is actually a hindrance to development. How do we even go about this issue?
Well, when you look at, first of all, let's also get back to the Parliamentary Forum on Ethics that is holding this conference. This particular one was launched in 2019. And why it was launched then, it was also to fast track, you know, the levels of integrity and ethics in society. And of course, it has been doing its work from the administrative perspective. Right. Then I also do remember that is Honorable Norbert Mao did mention that we need to seek for reconciliation as a country in relation to the moral decay in the country today. So we need to reconcile and see where the problem is at. Now, when you also mention what should we do as a country, when you look at you've mentioned doctors. Doctors belong to the health sector, which is highly one of the most sensitive sectors of any country. And before anyone goes in there, there are always, you know, regulations and rules that the doctors follow, that they are supposed to be working with as a yardstick to at least show them that you joined this for this particular cause. So that means these are the ethics that you're supposed to employ as a medical practitioner, right, and the like. So when it goes back to us, the Ugandans, this is something that goes back to all of us. In all the spheres of life, whether you are a media personality like we are here, whether you are a security personnel, whether you are a traffic officer, whether you are a driver, you know, whether you are a border person and the like, all of us have to play a part in everything. When you are doing the kind of job you're doing, we are all cautious about the wrongs of what you know, of what we're doing. Especially if you are, for example, a doctor, you know that administering a wrong dosage will definitely lead to the death of a client or a patient. Yes. So that means if you wrongly, you know, administer a drug, it is definitely going to affect the other person. And also, you know, when it goes back to your pedigree as a person, it is definitely also going to be affected. So when it also goes to the teachers, the lecturers, we've seen all these cases where students report their lecturers, their teachers, for sexually harassing them in order to give them marks. And this is not something that we would love in society. And I think also as an individual, like what I would definitely say is we are all parents in society. If you happen to do something to anyone, imagine if you are a parent, for example, how would you feel if it is done to your child? Or how would you feel if it is happening to you? It goes back to self-consciousness. In case of any wrong, how will you be affected as an individual? And to the leaders out there, once you are in office, imagine and also put yourself in the shoes of your voter who thought that by voting for this particular person, I believe they would raise my, my voice. But if you fail, then you've completely failed society. And I think we really need a lot of love for one another in society, and also respect for the values. But most importantly, I think, as I'm concluding here, is that we need to push for our cultural norms and values as the African society. These were so important in shaping a society that was built on ethics and moral integrity.
Right. Thank you so much, John Paul. Well, I do have some comments that I'd love to read out. And someone says, in Uganda, there is no ethics and integrity to talk about. We preach unity but practice hatred and sectarianism. We talk about accountability but practice looting. How can socioeconomic growth take place when we hide our dirty linen under the bed? Government, in brackets executive, has the obligation to take the bold step of correction, starting from itself. Then the rest will follow suit. Patriotism cannot be learnt in class. It is imparted by example. That is Kata Joffrey right there. Thank you so much for your comment. Then someone who goes by the name of Fest says, it is because of too much freedom in our country. That's why we are facing all these challenges. Though we have rules and regulations, even those who are responsible to make a follow-up of whether the community is following them, they are the ones starting to break the law. Well, it looks to be like a cycle that that needs to be broken and corrected. And by the look of things, it all starts from us as individuals and families. Well, thank you so much for being part of this conversation this morning. We appreciate all your views and comments that you have been able to share with us. And Jerome Paul, what would be your parting shot as we get ready for Tourism Express?
My parting shot would be, it starts with me, you, and everyone. So the viewers out there, if we are to push for integrity and ethics as a nation, it should start with us. That if I want a good service, I should as well lay a seed for the same. As a leader, I should be accountable for every decision I make on behalf of the people, because I'm not only serving for myself, but also serving for the Ugandans and everyone in the service sector, or anyone who is working. You should not only mind about the paycheck at the end of the day, also mind about the kind of service you're rendering to any individual. Is it good quality? And then also, how do we handle ourselves in society? We are so disrespectful of a sort. So that is something that we should work on. And the good thing is we are having a new year to check ourselves. So if it's making New Year resolutions, then this is the right time for us to sit down and work on ourselves.
Thank you so much. We have been having a conversation on the role of ethics and morality and integrity on socioeconomic development. For now, let's get into a break. When we come back, it's going to be Tourism Express.
Junko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Amaina gange ndi namaganda Mariamu Monda myoga jaida emyoga ejitandika okuida nafunamu esente bampa yakakaira ke sente bwe bampa akakaira ke sente nayiye ekyokukola nasookera ku mutiere omutiere gwapanga beeyi naguvwako nanoni omwana twagedaga n'amagezi nagema esente edo namuga yaje yagula supeya ow'ebyuma muno piki ne obugaali buti saa eno ndi kuyiiya okuleeta ebyuma ebimala ku bwena abakabiri bampaireyo ku esente nakuba okunoonya y'abaana babeegeresenga gano okukanika ki piki era bali kujja mpolampola nga bakanika era esente bwe tunaaba tudifuna nenda kwongera mu maani mu sente bwenaaba ndifunye twongeremu ntewo bizinensi emala nenda okwebaza gavumenti egiira okutulowoozaako niife abagansi mu kyalo okufuna esente kuba twalinga n'esente nga tulumukira mu banka bugiri butige baida ku nomba ngeno najjayo ku baida ku nomba baida kutaa ku bigandiiko aye dino tutwalayo mpolampola nenda okwebaza gavumenti olw'okulowooza ku nsonga eyo mukama abawa omukisa.
In 2007, a team from Prelna came and they started teaching us how to farm. They began by teaching us about food security, where they educated us to grow cassava and also agribusiness.
This kind of farming, the project also taught us how to sell as a group after finding a market. The support from the project has been so good to us. In a traditional way, planting a variety of crops. But when the team from Prelnor approached us, they asked us to choose particular seeds to grow which can yield very well in our area. We chose groundnuts and rice, which we are growing. With this kind of farming, the project also taught us how to sell as a group after finding a market. For restoration of livelihoods in the northern region or Prelnor.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. My name is Erin Alena Misango, and welcome to the GMU Tourism Express, where we talk about everything and anything about Uganda's tourism. We give you all the updates about the industry, what is happening in the world of tourism in Uganda. Well, it is a fresh week. Like I told you yesterday, it is the festive season, and it is about that time for you to prepare or plan for a trip. Like the festive season is for us to travel. Why don't you book a trip around Uganda? Go somewhere with your family, go have fun, go explore Uganda, go and enjoy your country and enjoy the beauty that Uganda placed, that God placed in this country. I don't want to take a lot of time, just taking you through the travel news, what happened. The first one is the Explore Pianupe campaign by Bid Taking Uganda and Ministry of Tourism was successfully concluded. It was in Pianupe. They partnered with Miss Tourism Uganda, with Miss Uganda, and they went to put a more shine on this region. You know, there is something about the Karamoja region that has been neglected, that has not been so much given attention, and I'm very sure by the time that all these campaigns are done, if we put in more campaigns and more efforts to promote this region, this place is going to blossom, and it might even cover up the western region, because the place has a lot of beauty. When you look at Pianupe, it is a stretch that you would want to live in, like you relive the experience, because the stretch goes to the horizon. Like the place is really very beautiful. And then these guys were here enjoying the culture experiences of the Karamoja, the tourism queens, the beauty queens were putting on the Karamoja attires, we are engaging in the Ndoga dance, you know, just engaging in the Karamoja experience, the Karamoja culture, and that is what we want, to see that we put more light, we put more shine and promote this region to greater heights, and also start attracting more visitors to the region. Still in the travel news, we have the Explore Busoga campaign that is going on. Ministry of Tourism has already put out the flyers. We are going to explore Busoga. It is said to happen on 13th December to 17th December. And you know, Explore Busoga, these Explore campaigns are a drive to promote domestic tourism in Uganda. And Ministry of Tourism has done so many of these. Recently, we had the Explore Bunyoro campaign. We had the Explore West campaign, Explore North. And then these campaigns are free, by the way. Like, the ministry provides transport, provides activities, and all you have to do is to cater for your accommodation and meals. Like, man, who else can do this? Let's go explore Busoga. There is a lot to do in Jinja. Some of the Ugandans have not even crossed the Nile Bridge, man. You don't know the Nile Bridge and you're Ugandan. So this is the opportunity for you to have and go explore this amazing place. There are so many activities that we are going to do. We are going to visit Mabira Forest. We are going to visit the Owen Falls Dam, Busowoko Falls. We are going to visit Griffin Falls, like so many places like you can see on the screen. So if you have the time, just catch up with us on 13th December to 17th December. We explore our country, we explore Busoga and see what the Eastern region has. Yeah, going into the attraction today, we are going to talk about something very special. Probably you've heard about it, but I'm going to give you more details about this place. And you know, Uganda is, someone told me that if you're looking for waterfalls, Uganda is the place to go. We have more than 13 waterfalls in the country, and all these places are beautiful. Last time we told you about Makshan Falls, which is the world's strongest waterfall. But now today we are not talking about Makshan Falls, because that you know Makshan Falls. We are talking about Sipi Falls. Sipi Falls, this amazing place. It is located in Kapchora district in Sipi. And you know, these falls are really beautiful. It is a series of 3 falls. The highest goes to 100 kilometers. That is the most common one that you see, like the one that you see on the screen. Then the second one goes to about 65 kilometers, and that last one goes to 85 kilometers. They are located in Sipi village, and the name Sipi Falls or Sipi was derived from the wild banana plant that usually grows around the river banks, along the river banks, that is called a sep. So this place commonly had those sep plants. That is why the place was called Sipi Falls. But Sipi Falls, it has so many activities. When you see the falls, you could be thinking that when you go there, you're just going to stand and stare at the falls and say, like, okay, yes, staring, of course, that is another scenery, like it is an activity. Seeing the beautiful scenery is a beautiful thing to see. But if you talk about the activities to engage in Sipi, when you go to Kapchora, they are endless, man. Like when you go to Kapchora for Sipi Falls, you can do the hiking to the 3 falls. You can do abseiling, going down the 100-kilometer rock, man, on a rope. I had that experience, but it is the best ever that I've ever had. Like if you're an adventure seeker, you can do rock climbing in Sipi. You can do coffee tours. You know, that place is commonly known for Arabic coffee, you know, or that primary social studies that we had, that Arabic coffee grows on the slopes of Mountain Elgon, and then Sipi Falls being located on the slopes of Mountain Elgon. So there are coffee experiences that you can have in Sipi when you go in Kapchora, the community tours. Sipi village is a small village of about 2,500 occupants. That makes you easy to easily coordinate and interact with these people. They are so welcome. So when you visit Sipi Falls, it is a place that you need to be. Actually, it accounts for about 10% to 20% of the tourist visits in the country. Most of the people that come to the country go to Sipi Falls because it is a short trip that you can have like in 2 days or 3 days. Actually, for me, I boarded a taxi to Sipi Falls. The first time I went to Kapchora, I boarded a taxi, I went to the place and I visited the place. I enjoyed the experience. So guys, there is no reason why you shouldn't visit this place. When we talk about accommodation in this place, from budget to luxury to the cottages to everything, you can never fail to get where to sleep. What you should look out in the accommodation facilities in CP Falls, in Kapchora, is the convenience, how close is it to the falls. You look at the comfort, the meals, and yeah. So going into the travel tip for today, the travel tip we have for today is very simple. The tip is keep in contact with friends and family while you're away. Keep in contact with friends and family while you're away, because man, some of you go for trips and you be like, I've always waited to stay away from these people. This is my time that I have to chill alone. No, but stay in contact, update them. I've reached, I'm here, I'm having this. Otherwise, that is all for today, and the drone shots that you've been seeing are shot by the best drone driver pilot in Uganda, the only one, Mike Bole Sevalu. Thank you so much for the content. Thank you for today. Catch you tomorrow. Next is a business update from Joram Paul. Thank you so much.
Well, you did mention something to do with Explore Busoga, and I wanted to ask a quick one in relation to the Explore Busoga that is coming up. We've seen most of the Explore campaigns that have been taking place this particular year. So what is more interesting about Busoga besides the source of the Nile? What should Ugandans look forward to?
You know, Jinja is East Africa's adventure capital. When you talk about adventure, Jinja has a lot of activities that even the ones that we mentioned or the ones that we are going to engage in this campaign, they're just limited to a few.
Okay.
You get? So when you talk, there are activities that are not on the on the itinerary, but there is bungee jumping, there is tubing the Nile, you know, there is kayaking, whitewater rafting, a lot that you can do in Jinja. So let people not just miss out on this.
Well, indeed, and you will definitely be able to experience the beauty that comes with Uganda. The month is coming to an end, and so is the year. So that means if you've not traveled or traversed the country, it is better you do so before 2023 comes to an end. But first, let's get into our GMU business update this morning. Well, the rains in Uganda are quite unpredictable. By the time we came here early in the morning, you would not tell whether we would be receiving any sort of rains today morning. Surprisingly though, for anyone who is actually just waking up to pick a taxi or kickstart off your engine, you should as well be prepared for the same because it is already pouring in the capital. I am Joram Paul Sonko, and it's now time for us to check out what is making headlines from the world of business, with which we start with value addition. And value addition in this regard, coming in from the agricultural sector, a sweet potato breeder at the National Agriculture Research Organization, Dr. Bernard Yada, wants sweet potato growers to have proper agroeconomic practices in order to maximize crop yields, minimize damage to the environment, and as well ensure sustainability as of the sweet potato varieties. This was during a field visit to some farmers dealing in the orange sweet potato value addition chain in Lira City, as the president continues to push for value addition, especially in the agriculture sector, to see that most of the Ugandans not only do subsistence farming, but also turn it into commercial, where you can earn a living off your sweat. And this is the same kind of situation where those who are actually growing potatoes have been advised to add value to the various potato varieties that they grow or cultivate. Now, when you look at the orange fleshed sweet potato variety, which has been adopted by over 3,000 farmers across the country for food and commercial purposes. This particular variety has substituted for wheat in the bakery industry, with up to 40% and it also enables manufacturers to spend less in purchase of raw materials. Now, farmers are therefore urged to be mindful of post-harvest handling of the product to ensure its sustainability in the production chain. So it is as simple as it gets when you look at value addition. It first of all works in relation to increasing our levels of exports as a country, because our industries are growing, and when you look at the or agro processing industries or factories that we do have in the country, they are as well growing. So if we provide raw materials for the same, then that will be a sign of growth, if I am to put it in that way, of the economy. And so the potato farmers in Lira City have ideally been advised to work on their potato varieties and add value to the same, to ideally earn some good money off it. Now, furthermore, as we continue with the world of business, now the Uganda National Roads Authority has started fixing a provisional bridge at Bwera Highway, about 3 kilometers from Pondwe border in Kasese district. Now, this comes after the major bridge in Pondwe Town Council caved in, leaving businesses at Mpondwe border paralyzed. That is at the Lubiriha Town Council. Now, the Uganda National Roads Authority responded to build the bridge that will accommodate heavy trucks to connect the Mpondwe border. Now, business had come to a standstill after the major bridge had collapsed when scrap dealers vandalized the culverts which were holding it. So earlier on, we've been having conversations about ethics and integrity, and this is something that you would definitely look back at. And it did also happen back in the time with our Rairy sector, where most of the Ugandans were actually plucking off the rails and selling them to scrap dealers. So it is something that affects development, if you come to think of it, and we should as well be accountable if we are to demand for quality service. Now, lastly, from the world of business, let me take you through a little bit. Yesterday, Parliament approved a 3.5 trillion supplementary budget, but there are also winners about this particular one, and it does seem like the State House is one of the big winners of the supplementary budget here. Now, when you look at the expenditure or how the breakdown is, you will get to realize that the Office of the President, preparation for the non-aligned movement and the G77 summit that will be taking place in January come next year will be allocated 26 billion Ugandan shillings of the 3.5 trillion Ugandan shillings that was approved by Parliament yesterday. Now, State House will have a 285 billion shillings classified expenditure, and then Lubowa Hospital, further coming back into the picture, will receive 2.7 billion as supervision costs of the hospital, which was launched in 2019 but is yet to lift off the ground. So that is also something that will be given attention. Now, Gaddafi Mosque will also receive 2 billion for renovation works in fulfillment of a presidential pledge. Now, furthermore, still off the 3.5 trillion Ugandan shillings, 70 billion Ugandan shillings will be heading to the Kabalega Airport. That is additional funding for the construction of Kabalega International Airport, which is part of the infrastructure to support the nascent oil industry in Uganda, which is highly expected to kick off with the first drop of oil come 2025. High anticipations, of course. Then artists or musicians, capitalization of the Performing Artists Circle and support to the group structures, 13 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, you can definitely see how much the Uganda National Musicians Federation is actually making good strides towards pushing for the growth and development of those in the arts sector. Then there will as well be 14 billion Ugandan shillings financing to the Higher Education Student Financing Board to reinstate the students' loan schemes come the year 2024. Well, 3.5 trillion of the supplementary budget that was approved by Parliament. Now, lastly, from the world of business this morning, let's look at the forex market to check out how the various currencies were trading close of business Monday evening. As you're getting into the market today, this is how you will definitely find these currencies. Now, starting off with the US dollar, by opening time yesterday, it was buying at 3,799.25 while selling at 3,809. 0.25. Closing time saw the US dollar buy at 3,791.96 while selling at 3,801.96. Great Britain pound was buying at 4,807.82 while selling at 4,820.50. The euro was buying at 4,121.86 while selling at 4,132.73. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 24.73 while selling at 24.80. Then the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.50 while selling at 1.51 shillings. And the South African rand was buying at 203.27 while selling at 203.81 shillings. So that is how you will definitely find those currencies at the forex market. That is courtesy of the Bank of Uganda. Well, now it is time for us to check out the traffic updates with Chantal Oliver Kandinda.
Good morning once again. Thank you for staying with us. It's time for us to take a look at the traffic updates in case you're trying to make your way to town. Now, I have been doing some checks and guess what? This morning, most of the roads seem safe for you to be able to move. I don't know what is happening, if I thought it is actually really true that most people have broken off for Christmas. Usually the last I checked, breaking off would be around 20th, even 23rd. But traffic is really minimal on the road, as I'm going to be taking you through. Now, if you are, right now I am standing at what we call the Spear Junction. So that is from Ntinda Road, Nakawa Jinja Road, and then Nakawa, the Kampala Jinja Highway. That very junction right there is where I am standing, and I'm trying to make my way to town. However, if you are coming from Ntinda, you know, and you're trying to make your way to town, to Spear Road, for example, you are free to move except at the junction that has Ntinda 2 Road. That is the only place where you'll be finding a bit of traffic. But after that, you are free to come all the way to this particular junction without any holdups. However, if you are trying to make your way to Chireka, Banda, Chambogo side, the traffic is actually there, but it's really not something to worry about because it moves. Where you see a yellow line or orange line, whichever color you want to call it, that is not traffic for you to worry about because it's actually moving. And if I look at the Nakawa Jinja Road that takes me to Chinawataka Road, the traffic is also moving quite smoothly as you are trying to make your way to those areas. However, if I'm to join the Kampala Jinja Highway and trying to make my way to town, I'll only find a bit of traffic as I'm approaching the market. That is, I'm on Kampala Jinja Highway as I'm also trying to make my way to Nakawa. I think when I say Nakawa, it sounds better. So the market around there is what is going to bring a bit of jam. And of course, the junction that takes you to Naguru Road and takes you further to the police headquarters, that junction off the Nakawa Road is what brings a bit of traffic and a bit of holdups. But from that particular junction, as you are trying to make your way to town, there is traffic on that road. The whole of Nakawa Road is mad with some traffic and of course a little bit of holdups here and there. But as this is usually caused by either junctions or traffic lights, and here you could see from here that we have this junction that brings you to UAP Old Mutual or Nakawa Post Office. That junction usually has a lot of jams. So yes, there is traffic. It also has traffic lights, so there is traffic along that route. As you're trying to connect, you'll find a bit of traffic. But after that, proceeding into Nakawa, proceeding onto the Kampala Jinja Highway, you are free to move all the way until you are approaching Chadondo Rugby Grounds. It is where you will be finding a little bit of slow traffic and a bit of a holdup, and this is also caused by the traffic lights that connect you to the Lugogo bypass. Now those lights as well that connect to Lugogo bypass will usually cause some bit of traffic, but that is the only place where you will be finding traffic. After that, as you make your way to town, if you are coming from town, the holdup is also because of the traffic lights, but it's really moving, as you can see from the yellow stroke orange lines. But as I'm trying to make my way further into town, I am free to move all the way until past the immigration offices, British American Tobacco. As you're trying to make your way to First Street though, from First Street you will find a bit of traffic, but it's really not something to worry about. After the immigration offices, I get to the Airtel Tower clock. Now the Airtel Tower clock, of course, has a little bit of holdups, and that is because it's a roundabout. What do you expect? Cars joining in, cars getting out, cars exiting, cars getting in. That is why you'll find holdups on there. But as you are trying to proceed and make your way to town, that is where you will be finding a traffic jam. Now that is what we usually call Ginger Road. That's the part that has Electoral Commission, International Medical Center, and very many other places. You will find traffic because especially of the lights on there. Now the lights have the route that takes you to Yusufulule Road, but also proceeding to town and also taking you to Mukwano Road. That is where you will find traffic because of, one, the construction taking place along Mukwano Road, but also the fact that there are traffic lights on there, and people and different people joining in from different parts of town. So that's where you will be finding traffic. If you're making your way from town, trying to get out of town or trying to get to Ginger Road side, or even crossing to Wampewan or these other parts of Kololo, you will find some traffic along that very junction that has traffic lights, and that is simply because of the traffic lights. But after that, you will be free to move. If I'm proceeding further into town, honestly, there is not too much to worry about in terms of traffic. So as you're trying to make your way to town, other parts, I tried checking a little bit earlier. Traffic is not something you should be worrying about. But maybe as time goes on, like around 9 a.m. or even 8:30, there might be some little bit of traffic, especially now that it has rained. So please do be mindful. For now, that is it that we could gather for you on the traffic updates. Coming up is Good Morning Uganda agenda.
Akakiiko kateereddwawo ka kulondoolwa omukulu avunaanyizibwa ebyenjigiriza mu ssete.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Amaina gange nze Basile Benadi, radio officer wa Ituba A, Ituba B na Kibengo Kikokoli, obimu ku byalo Modo Village muzeyi de yasalawo okugayigawaza ngatola abantu mu bwavu. Atya muzeyi aje atuweereza ebintu ngente, embidi, ebigogo, mwogo, nanansi twagabira abantu abamuli okumpi. Ayo omala kweteekateeka tubaleeta bulete ntukuwa nga tuweetesetese ngente olina okuzimba ekiyumba ekyente, yeba mbidi ekyembidi, yeba embuzi ebyembuzi. Nga tumaze kusomesa twakutweininga wakola ebyetaagisa. Woba nga oli kwenda mbuzi, tulina engeri tukutweininga mu wazimba ekiyumba ekyembuzi. Era bwe tuba tukuwaira embuzi eyo nezaala twenda kwenkaana. Enkaana eyo tunoonya omuntu ataafuna, twasolozaako ku bantu nga basatu abazaaziiza, twagaako omuntu owundi. Ye tumaze okutweininga, yonda tukola tutyo. Ente tukola paasonu, embidi dona tukola paasonu. Bantu bangi bafuniemu. In fact, nga Modo Village, nsuubira nti abantu nga 10 bafuniemu. kuba abandi bazimbyemu amayumba abandi balisomesaamu abaana agwe tibalifuna bukalu bwino okutoolakuyo omuntu oyo omulala atafaayo kuwulirisa mulanga gwa gavumenti.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Amaina gange ndi namaganda Mariamu Monda myoga jaida emyoga ejitandika okuida nafunamu esente bampa yakakayira akesente bwe bampa akakayira akesente nayiye ekyokukola nasookera ku mutyere omutyere gwapanga beeyi naguvwako nanoonya omwana twageddaga n'amagezi n'agema esente edo namuga yaje yagula supeya ow'ebyuma muno pikipiki ne obugaali buti saawa eno ndi kuyiiya okuleeta ebyuma ebimala ku bwe n'abakabiri bampaireyo ku esente nakuba okunoonya y'abaana babeegeresenga gano okukanika ki pikipiki era bali kujja mpolampola nga bakanika era esente bwe tunaaba tudifuna nenda kwongera mu maani mu sente bwe naaba ndifunye twongeremu ntewo bizinensi emala nenda okwebaza gavumenti egiira okutulowoozaako niife abaagansi mu kyalo okufuna esente kuba twalinga n'esente nga tulumukira mu banka bugiri buti baida ku numba ng'eno najjayo ku baida ku numba baida kutaa ku bigandiiko aye dino tutwalayo mpolampola nenda okwebaza gavumenti olw'okulowooza ku nsonga eyo mukama abawa omukisa.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. Thank you for sticking around with us. It is time for us to talk about what happens in the agenda and, of course, matters of national importance. Now, this morning, I am graced to be hosting Mr. Chariton Namoza, who is the CEO of Nogam. Now, if you don't know what Nogam is, brace yourself. We're going to be breaking that all down this morning, getting to understand what this is. And today's conversation is going to be centered on the National Organic Week that started last week and ends tomorrow. And I would like to encourage you to pass by Hotel Africana and look at the exhibition that is taking place, because we all do know that agriculture is the backbone of the country. And the fact that when I see the word organic, for me, my mind runs direct to the GMOs that we have seen on the market and everything that is not as safe for us to consume or even practice in terms of agriculture. And I'm excited to have this conversation this morning, because aside from what you see on TV, I'm interested so much in agriculture. And the topic is how smallholder farmers or farms encourage organic agriculture. Now, for you who does not know what we call smallholder farms or farmers, I would like to break it down for you now. A small holding or a smallholder is a farm operating under small-scale agriculture model. So look at your village, for example, in your mind, look at your village, look at your neighbor who has a small plantation, or even, it may not be so small, but they have a banana plantation, they grow beans seasonally, they grow maize seasonally. I believe, I hope I'm explaining it pretty well. Good morning.
Very good morning, Chantal.
How are you feeling this morning? And thank you for joining us.
I feel excited to be here, and thanks for hosting me.
Great. So this morning, briefly, as I was talking about the smallholder farmers, hopefully I explained them pretty well.
Very well.
Great, thank you. Because I'm trying to help our viewer get into the picture of, if you're talking about a smallholder farmer, who is that? And then, of course, now their contribution when it comes to encouraging organic agriculture. Yeah. But before that, what is NOGAM?
NOGAM is an acronym that stands for National Organic Agriculture Movement of Uganda.
Okay.
It's the voice and leader of the organic industry in Uganda.
Right.
They've been in existence for over 22 years, and we've had every opportunity to serve Ugandans in different capacities, mostly in building their capacities to produce organically. We're talking about training, research, and extension. We have had the opportunity to interact with as many farmers as possible to ensure that we build their capacities to comply with, standards, local, organic, and international standards. We engage with government on a policy front to make sure that, we establish a conducive environment, enabling environment that is critical for ensuring further growth of the organic industry in Uganda. And then we do everything possible, and as we are membership-based, to link our members to different markets, local Ugandan markets, regional markets, Kenya, Sudan, Congo, and others, as well as the international organic markets.
Great. So if I got you correctly, NOGAM also has members who practice organic farming.
Yes.
Great. Because the other conversation that I've had on a number of occasions, outside normal conversations with people that you sit with, there is an issue with the fact that our organic products or produce are actually fading out. And the birth of the genetically modified organisms, right?
Yeah.
No, it is organisms.
Coming
on board and seemingly more available than the organic ones.
Well, it's interesting that Ugandans and the general public have been misinformed. The fact is that when you move around the country, 80 to 90% of our farmers are smallholder farmers. We're talking about farmers that cultivate anything between 3 to 4 acres on average.
Those are the smallholder
farmers. And these are the farmers that produce the bulk of the food that is sold locally, but also exported.
Right.
So you can imagine at their small level, they're able to produce as much food as possible. Now, there are some technologies that have come in to sort of address some of the issues that we have seen, which have been triggered by the increasing population, and GMO is one of them. The proponents of GMOs argue that traditional organic agriculture practices cannot feed the world, and that the world at some point will starve. The population of Uganda, for instance, is expected to reach, to exceed 100 million by 2050. So all these have been the arguments and the basis for, putting forward some of these technologies. But the truth is that we are not addressing the issues that farmers face. Farmers require just a little push. Because imagine, if at their level, without using inputs and without much support, they are producing 80 to 90% of the bulk of the food.
Right.
What is it that we could do to push them an extra mile so that they can produce as much food as possible to feed the world, but also, get surplus to sell to the market? So for us, as the organic industry, we argue that farmers lack, genuine, affordable inputs. And the exhibition that we are running that ends tomorrow at Hotel Africana is showcasing a whole range of organic inputs, affordable, effective, And these are inputs which are manufactured locally.
Right.
So the question of whether farmers have the inputs that they need, I think is now what we need to be tackling as a country, because soil fertility has deteriorated over the years. As you know, there's been what we call soil mining. Farmers just plant and harvest, and nutrients keep getting out of the soil. So we've got now to embark on a new journey of making sure that soil fertility is rebuilt in the soil. In the words of the late, former Prime Minister of the UK, Sir Winston Churchill, he said Uganda is the pearl of Africa, because he had traversed, the country and observed that we've got a conducive climate, unmatched, next to none in Africa, and I believe in most parts of the world. And we have fertile soils, and we have all these trees, and something that he dubbed as, the pearl of Africa,
right.
After watching. So we've got now to walk towards that, end of making sure that we rebuild the soil fertility in the soils.
Great. As Nogama, you must have identified a gap that one prompted the move, especially into the organic industry, and this could be in comparison with, say, the effects of non-organic. And this is information that very many Ugandans are not aware of. Someone is going to walk into the market, and it's almost hard for them to even know the difference between the genetically modified ginger, for example, and the local or the organic ginger. I'm giving just an example. So what could be some of those gaps you identified that prompt the fact that you are advocating for the organic industry?
There are three major reasons why people like myself and others that are in the organic space are pushing for organic farming. And globally, the issues of food safety, the issues of environment, social concerns, and others have been the major driving force for the growth in the demand for organic products. I will give you an example, and I keep sharing this example. In COVID, the COVID year 2020, when the whole world was on its knees, everyone was looking for healthy organic products, nutritious products, because everyone discovered that there was no medicine at that time. As you saw, we didn't have vaccines, the whole world was stuck, and the best way forward at that time was to encourage people to consume organic, healthy organic products. That's why the prices for ginger lemon shot up, and that was indicative of the fact that there was suddenly an awareness or an awakening about the benefits of health consumption. So this has been one of the key reasons why the demand for organic, healthy organic products has grown. And by the way, research was conducted around the same time, and was established that world over, the growth in the organic demand was highest in the COVID year. Now, the second reason that accounts for the growth and why we're in this space is that there are issues of climate change, issues of the environment. There is water pollution, there is air pollution, climate change, global warming. All these issues have come into play and have triggered major debates across the globe. And there are consumers out there that are increasingly getting concerned about the effects of global warming, the negative effects of climate change, environmental issues. We've also had, people that have innocently suffered from pesticide, effects. And again, research was conducted to show that whereas Africa is the most organic, if you like, where we don't manufacture some of the synthetic inputs, we have suffered the highest form of abuse of these chemicals. I mean, think about our smallholder farmer who is semi-literate, who doesn't know the dangers of using a certain chemical. Herbicides, for instance. We've seen farmers that use herbicides. They are not putting on protective gears. They are not well dressed.
Basic principles.
They are spraying a herbicide that has been, found to be carcinogenic.
Right.
So people are suffering from diseases that we cannot account for. Cancer, high blood pressure, all these non-communicable diseases that are triggered by what people eat. And there is a clear correlation between what people eat and their health. Now, the third reason is the social concerns. Social concerns such as, cheating farmers, the way you treat workers, workers' rights. If a mother has given birth, you need to give them time to, to heal and take care of the baby at that early stage. Issues of animal rights, issues of, how you treat chicken. Are you going to leave them in the open, or are you going to build for them a shed? Issues like, how you deal with, with workers, compensation and all these things. So we've got to recognize that the world is aware and is moving in a direction that requires companies and farms to be socially responsible. And as a farmer who wants to target different markets, who wants to diversify into global markets, this is the trend. And the growth in the organic demand has been accelerating at a rate of 10 to 15% global, and this is the highest. Right. So that tells you that that's where the world is heading. But even here, you can see the mushrooming, health organic shops, the supermarkets that are stocking, Carrefour down here, stocking organic products, some of which are imported, you can imagine, cosmetic products, jelly and lotions that are organic. We have the potential to... We have the potential. I mean, you can go to Hotel African and see what Ugandans are now doing. Very, very excellent products. So all these, outlets that we see labeled health organic shops are indicative of the fact that even Ugandans are increasingly becoming aware of the benefits of healthy organic products. So this is the reason why we are fully engaged in making sure that we integrate as many farmers as possible. And I would like to highlight something at this point. Uganda is the country with the second highest number of certified farmers in the whole world. Did you know? It speaks to our culture. Right. It speaks to the way Ugandans have been practicing agriculture over the years. Over the years, yes. You see them composting, you see them making pesticide, you see them... And they will use chemicals to the extent that they are given to them for free. But in reality, if they roll back into their normal life without free inputs, free chemicals, they will do what they usually do. Yes.
Couldn't that be escalated by the fact that one, there is a bit of, for lack of a better way to put it, ignorance, and then also the fact that that the help seemingly extended seems in good faith, but may not be in good faith?
Well, I think it's both. The truth is that many farmers understand that chemicals are not good. Of course, they are stuck. They are stuck because every farmer wouldn't want to waste their time on their gardens. If they are going to grow maize, where I come from, we grow a lot of maize, and all you're going to harvest 5 bags from a whole acre. That's a complete waste of time. It doesn't make sense. So if someone comes to you with a bag of fertilizers and they're giving it to you for free, and maybe through a grant that has been given by a donor or government or whoever is supporting these farmers, I mean, you'll take it because you want to. You want more products. You want more products. But the truth is that after that program has ended, this is going to stop. And I'll give you an example within the region because as an organization, we are networked globally. We subscribe to the International Federation of Organic Movements, the NOGAMO of the whole world. And we speak to our sister organizations in different countries, in Kenya, Malawi. There is a clear example in Malawi recently when we went to share experiences. The government of Malawi has invested, for instance, in providing free fertilizers and pesticides and other chemicals to farmers. And they have done this over a period of 10 years. And interestingly, Malawi is one of the countries that have complied with the requirement, the Marlboro, requirement, the 10% threshold, where governments are being, encouraged to spend at least 10% of their budgets on agriculture. And in Malawi, much of that budget goes to inputs. So I think on a scale of 1 to 10, about six parts out of 10 go to inputs. Now, but what is interesting is Malawi is one of the countries that are food insecure. There's been overuse of fertilizers. The soils are spoiled. They have overdosed their farms with chemicals. So that reveals a very important fact that Uganda needs to pay attention to. Right. It's not just about giving farmers fertilizers or chemicals or all these things, no. It's about understanding the soil science, understanding that plants depend on the soil, that plants depend on the water in the soil, and that there is life in the soil. Yes. And if the microorganisms that are important in terms of ensuring that the soils are porous enough to absorb water and that the nutrients are available to the plant, then it's going to be difficult for us to address the issue of food security. So I would like to make this point at this early stage that as a country, and given our conducive climate and given our good soils, we have the opportunity to tap into the local resource, where we have now manufacturers here based in Uganda who have a whole range of organic inputs that guarantee increase in yield, and yet they are much cheaper. They are more affordable by a smallholder farmer, and these inputs do not harm our health, they do not harm animals, they do not harm the environment, and they are good for us.
I must say though that in most cases when you get into say a supermarket or even a place to buy something, if the cost is really small, you're going to question the quality.
Yes.
And you mentioned that some of the input that is organic and available is actually not expensive. And someone would walk in and say, if it's not expensive, then it is not to the quality. And how do we even start to change that kind of mindset when it comes to our Ugandans?
You see, as an agriculture economist and one that has specialized in international marketing, I know that consumers fall in different categories. You have a section of consumers that are price sensitive. So they don't care whether the quality is good or not. As long as the price is low, they will buy. Then you have those that are very sensitive to quality. They don't care about the price. So some are bent on the price, the others are bent on quality. But what we normally encourage producers and manufacturers is that we need to strike a delicate balance between what you'd call an excellent or premium quality product that would obviously fetch the highest price, and then a very good quality product that would let's say, fetch a fair price. And in the case of Ugandan consumers, we know that they like going to markets and picking as much as they could at the lowest price possible. So what we've done in the organic sector is to, first of all, it is clear that the cost of production is low, given the affordable, cheaper inputs that organic farmers use. So what we've encouraged them to do is shorten the value chains. Instead of allowing middlemen to stand between you and the market, you get your product directly to the market and match the market prices. So if you go to Nakasero and buy a kilo of tomatoes, let's say at 5,000, you should be able to get a kilo of tomatoes, organic tomatoes, at about the same price. And we have organic farmers markets that run on a weekly basis in Zambia behind the American Embassy. We have a market in Entebbe on Abaita Babiri Road. We've got other markets that are coming up. where if you visit, you'll clearly see that there is no significant difference between the prices that you see in these traditional markets and these exclusive organic outlets.
Great. And well, the golden question would be how can we now enable the smallholder farmers to encourage organic agriculture? Having discussed some of them, I believe some of them have been put out, but how do we enable the smallholder farmers to boost organic agriculture?
I think the first step is to recognize the needs of the farmers, the smallholder farmer.
Okay.
They have the land, they own the land, for starters, and I'm talking about those that own the land. I know there are some that don't have the land. Uganda being a young country, for instance, many of the people you see in Uganda are young, talking about
85%.
Yes, 35 and below. So again, we've got to recognize that most of these young people don't have land. But if you're talking about a typical traditional farmer in Uganda, smallholder farmer, they own land. It could be small and has reduced in size over the years, but that's the first thing they have, the asset, the land. Now, the immediate need that this farmer needs is the knowledge.
Right.
The capacity to be able to produce and get substantial quantities of produce that they can eat at home, but also have enough surplus to sell. How do we move these farmers into the money economy? How do we guarantee sustainability? They produce today, they produce tomorrow, and the other year, without creating a burden on government. So the easiest way, and this is what we are putting across, is to ensure that they get access to affordable organic inputs. And these ones are available. We had a dialogue. The Organic Week, National Organic Week started last week, again at Hotel Africana, with a dialogue on organic inputs. And we specifically focused on the coffee industry because of the strategic importance of coffee,
yes.
As the most important export crop, but also that accounts for approximately 65% of the farming community in Uganda. It's grown nearly in every region of the country. So what stakeholders highlighted as key issues that we need to ensure that farmers are given or they are helped to acquire or to get access to inputs. And the inputs are here. We had manufacturers of these different inputs: fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, even probiotics for animals that guarantee increased milk production, increased egg production, weight gain in beef. The feed conversion ratio is increased with these probiotics. You have fish, and we can produce organic fish. So that's what farmers need first and foremost. The second thing is giving them knowledge on how to manage their farms, the good agricultural practices.
On that very note, because I was going to say, for some, it seems to be the easy way out to get, I heard that tablets, for example, they give animals to fatten them. Yet you've just mentioned that there are probiotics that can naturally give you a bigger size of an animal without affecting how natural or organic it is. But I've heard the tablets, for example, you serve these animals and in a few months they're big and ready to be sold. Isn't it also an issue of some of our farmers choosing the easy way out?
Yeah. I think, permit me to say this. We have traders or people that want to make money who recognize that there is a gap. A farmer is in need of a solution, and they come in with a solution. So you've heard of big, I won't mention some of these some of these inputs, but you've seen farmers, you know, being approached by different business people, traders, middlemen,
Yes.
with all kinds of solutions. And you know, the farmer is vulnerable. The farmer is
they're looking for solutions.
Exactly, and whoever comes to them and convinces them and what they're talking about makes sense, they'll simply, you know, yield to their demands. So we've got now to recognize that we have solutions, what you call natural solutions, organic solutions, probiotics that are helpful and that guarantee, you know, increased weight gain, increased egg production, increased milk production, and they don't have side effects, they don't affect, and yet they're affordable. They're affordable because, you see, God established the planet, He created the earth and put everything that we need.
Right.
It's just that human beings are chaotic. They turn everything upside down because of our curiosity, because of our inquisitive nature. We try out different things. We want to experiment. So that's okay. That's human nature. But as a country, we need to realize that our competitive and comparative advantages lie in our natural endowment, our climate, our soils, but even the people. You see, you cannot exclude people from the nature.
Right.
I was telling people why India, for instance, leads the world in terms of having the highest number of organic farmers. And of course Uganda follows. Yeah. We have clear similarities between India and Uganda. Ugandans are in love with nature.
Yes.
The same way Indians love nature. When you go to India, I've been to India several times, you can see that an Indian adores, an Indian loves nature. And this is exactly what you see in Uganda as well. Because when you love nature and you do things that benefit nature, nature will pay back, and in very, very good terms. So we have the natural solutions here, we have the inputs, we have the fertilizers, we have the pesticides, we have the probiotics for animals that we can use to, you know, guarantee substantial, you know, production.
Right, thank you so much. Well, I do have some comments coming in from our viewer, and maybe I would read out some, and maybe we get a response to one or two as we are nearing close of this segment. Retired Captain Chitaka Mayanja in Chiboga says, an intensive small-scale farmer in Chiboga Town Council. What I do to get organic manure is I keep chicken, piggery, dairy on zero grazing. I have good bananas, grow vegetables, to mention but a few. For sure, organic in Uganda is very, very possible because most of our farmers are on small-scale farming, 2 to 4 acres. Then also, this is Cynthia from Munyonyo. She says, I think farmers should use composts and animal manures. Also, use of cover crops and minimize soil disturbance. Probably you will help us if that is something.
These are excellent observations, and you can see these are Ugandans that are involved in farming. They know the good side of the organic, they know the bad side of the conventional. Yes.
Right. And then this is Isaac Alulava, tuned in from Mbale City. Isaac says, promoting organic agriculture is good. However, soil regeneration naturally is a longer-term process, yet the need to produce higher food quantities keeps increasing. On account of the ever-growing market demand, this means that shorter and medium-term interventions are necessitated through the use of quality fertilizers and chemicals. Wouldn't it be more prudent, therefore, that the UNBS and other stakeholders are called upon to play a more robust role for safety reasons as well as for meeting food security concerns?
I appreciate that observation, but I think in many ways it's indicative of what I call misinformation.
Right.
Because I have already highlighted that yes, we recognize the need for, you know, for high production of food to meet to meet our needs for food and of course the market. But we have the solutions here. Actually, I'll tell you, Uganda is home to some of the biggest organic projects in East Africa. Did you know that we now have certified organic sugar in this country? Did you know that we have now companies in Uganda that are practicing or that are doing commercial organic agriculture on a large scale? Great. 4 square miles, you know, 2,000 acres. There is a sugar project in Kayunga, certified organic. It's seated on over 2,000 acres. 2,000 acres. What are they using? Commercial organic inputs. And most of which are bought here, and some, of course, are imported.
When you talk about, sorry to cut you short, you talk about organic sugar. I'm thinking stevia. Am I thinking right, or it looks like the normal sugar that we consume?
We are talking about sugar from sugar cane.
That's interesting.
Okay, stevia is obviously, as you know, a sugar for the diabetics and those that
Some
don't
call
want.
it organic, and they would rather
But
consume
now you see, organic agriculture is a production system. So we are talking about the use of natural organic materials or inputs. Fertilizers. Fertilizers, a small bottle would be enough. We have, you know, one of the fertilizers is the micro, call them bio inputs, where you use 1 bottle to cover a whole acre. And let me tell you, you'll see a clear change. When you apply and there is rain or there is water in the soil, you'll see the sugar cane grow like it has never grown before. And we see crops, the major crops in Uganda, many studies, many trials have been conducted, again with partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and NARO, the National Agricultural Research Organization. Some of these inputs that are manufactured here have been tried in different places, different call them agroecological zones. And we have seen all the major crops in Uganda respond. Right. The yield is guaranteed, and the farmer will not complain. So we have, for instance, in the northern part of Uganda, some of those farmers in Kiriandongo, some of the farmers, as you go up the north, you know, to Gulu, those, you know, big chunks of land, we have commercial farmers that are using organic fertilizers for maize, for beans, for sunflower. And the yield is interesting. Now, one more point here before we get to the next question. You know, we have seen companies like Mukwano, for instance, MMP Agro, Amathion, enter the organic space. And that tells you, when such people enter the organic industry, they have seen what is ahead. They have seen the opportunities, which, of course, by going organic, they will be exploiting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have like about 2 minutes. I just want to read like 2 more comments, and then you just give us what is happening at the National Organic Week and what time someone should get there. Tomorrow is the last day, and I'm hoping between today and tomorrow, someone would be in position to pick something and run so fast to Hotel Africana. This one says, "Good morning, UBC. Thanks for the presentation on matters that are more important." Vita Rogers from Uganda says the only thing we can do is proper implementation of our policies in Uganda if we are going away in organic to organic farming. Let us stop marketing inorganic pesticides as government, such that farmers fail to access them. Otherwise, we are making our local people have challenge in using these pesticides on land, produce, and even on people themselves. Even people don't use protective gear when using these pesticides, hence challenges to human nature, products, and even the atmosphere. Then Nancy from Mbale says, most farmers are small scale, so they need to be educated more about how to use organic inputs. Well, I guess this will go back to the plan that is in place to make sure that these farmers get to know or get this information. Organic fertilizer is what I'm using too for my bananas. This is Grace Mukugize Amoti. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. So as we wind up today's conversation, Mr. Chariton, as we are, trying to make sure that Ugandans get on board and have more information. I personally, I've done agriculture before and I'm really passionate about it, but the element of differentiating between organic inputs and inorganic inputs, I can assure you, all I knew was go to the shop, buy the pesticides, buy manure, put the plants grow. But now I'm more informed. So what is happening at the National Organic Week, and what time does someone get there? When is it ending, and what should we expect when we get there?
So we have what we've dubbed as the National Organic Exhibition taking place at Hotel Africana just down here. And at this exhibition, Ugandan farmers and input manufacturers and distributors and all actors, traders and processors and exporters have gathered to showcase what we have in Uganda. A whole range of organic inputs, fertilizers, different kinds of fertilizers that have been produced using different technologies and affordable. They are here at Africana. And this week we started yesterday on Monday, and the show ends tomorrow. Now, the other products that again Ugandans need to come and see and buy, because you see, it is unfair for farmers to come all the way from Bale, all the way from Chiboga, all the way from the north, with organic banana, organic chicken, organic eggs, organic honey and coffee and all these, and they take them away. Right. They go back with them. So please come and see what Ugandans are producing, both for the domestic and export markets. Premium quality organic products at unbelievable prices. You know, the myth or the notion that organic products are very expensive and unaffordable, I think will be demystified when you visit the show. And we're telling Ugandans, this is the time you need to start seriously considering consuming organic products. And you know, Hotel Africana has hosted us, and it's the first hotel in the country to offer organic meals. This entire week they have been serving organic coffee to their guests, and you'll see organic coffee even at the show. And we've worked with UCDA and the other key actors in the coffee industry to serve free organic coffee. Come and taste coffee from the Mountain Elgon, coffee from the Renzori, coffee from across the country.
Thank you so much. We have been having a conversation with Mr. Chariton Namuoza, who is the CEO of Nogamo, and I'm calling upon you to pass by Hotel Africana for the National Organic Week and get all this information right there. Please be ready to buy something organic. Make the comparison. I believe you will thank UBC and Mr. Chariton when you see the difference. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Good Morning Uganda agenda ends now, but of course coming up is Ruben with sports updates. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay.